Alright guys, my name is Chris Gutierrez with Metro Valley Ambulance. I'm a longtime paramedic, longtime diesel mechanic, and I've got two matching 2009 Dodge Sprinter 2500s to show you. I apologize, there's a little bit of wind, and I've been meaning to get a windscreen for this camera so it doesn't sound windy. Haven't done that yet, so bear with me. So we have two matching rigs here. The one on the left has 227,000 miles. The one on the right has 233. But don't let the mileage bum you out. These things are in deployment ready condition. They could run calls today. They don't need anything. And they're in fantastic shape. And I think you'll agree with me by the time we're finished with this. There's going to be about probably about an hour's worth of video here. I know most people don't watch all of it. We're going to do a test drive also. We're going to go in the patient compartment, all through the cab, underneath the thing, look at the engine, the tire tread, every little thing that we could look at, we're going to look at. So, you know, if you're interested, it's worthwhile watching the video, and you'll see that every little thing works, and anything that doesn't work, we always fix it. So we don't sell problems to the next guy. They're ready to put your graphics on and start running calls. Okay, so we're gonna do a walk around. It's a little tight back here, but you'll get the idea. Well, there's plenty of pictures and stuff up in addition to the video, but the video I think is really sells it when you see what you're getting. Most of my customers are from out of state, so I find that this is the best way to do this. Am I backed up all the way? There we go. And you know, usually when guys come out and actually come here to look at them, they don't really do a very comprehensive inspection. They kind of kick the tires, turn the emergency lights on, and drive the thing around the block, and they're like, okay, it's cool. But they don't, you know, climb underneath, and they don't go through every switch, and they don't, you know, it takes a long time, and people don't really want to spend that much time looking at something. So so we're going to do it here for you, and it'll be faster because you know, I do this all the time, so we're going to breeze right through it. So we'll start on this guy. They're both 2009. This one's the higher mileage rig. You know, let me fire it up. Let me get it started so we got juice to the back. Oh yeah, let me show you this also. The keys are this. So it's got, you can lock it. Watch, let me there's an alarm also, but it's got remote door lock, so you'll see the little churn indicator thing come on when it's, you know, been locked, and then when it's unlocked, it does the same thing. All right, so, and they're both like that. Actually, all Sprinters are like that, so let's get this thing fired up. Okay, let's go in the back. Take a gander at what's back here, and you will see down to the last little detail, man. I mean, it is in really good shape. The floor, you'll see mint condition. You know, a lot of times you'll see it starts, you know, peeling up on the edges, or there's slices from the gurney or things that were hanging on the gurney that cut the floor up. Nothing like that with either one of these. That's your backboard compartment. Pretty roomy. I mean, you could probably put, depending on what kind of backboards you have, even if they're thick, you could put 3 in there. If you've got thinner backboards, you could put 4. And probably, I don't think it's tall enough to put a scoop stretcher in there, but it's pretty roomy for backboards. The other thing too, it has this huge space for a Stryker stair chair. So, and the coach builder is Leader. It's the best coach builder for Type 2s. I'll get into more of that as we get into this, but Leader makes a really quality product. And some of their older ambulances, their space for stair chairs only accommodates a Furno, which is pretty small. I don't mind the Furno stair chair. I used it for years and years when I was in the field. The Stryker is kind of heavier, it's bigger, it's bulkier, but it feels more solid. But so that space, you could put a Furno in there if you wanted to, but it's big enough to put a Stryker stair chair. You'll see, I'll just give you a little from the bumper here, a little look. You'll notice it's got, I don't know, it's either 3-point or 5-point harness for whoever's on the bench seat. So there's 2 seats that have the crazy harness. When I worked in the field, I never even wore a seatbelt back here just because I found it cumbersome to do patient care and be that strapped in, or even with a lap belt, so I never wore one. But it's there if you want it. It's a cool safety feature if you're real big on safety at your fire department or ambulance company. So here's the back. Oh yeah, it also has the floor mounts antler system for a Striker. So a Striker Easy Pro, MX Pro, Power Pro will fit in here, as well as the Furno ProFlex series will fit in here. The only gurney that won't fit in here is a Furno Model 28. It has a completely different antler lockdown system. So here's our action wall, and you will see we got our suction, we got the biohazard waste, all our switches and stuff are here. We got a lockable narcotics locker there. I have the key for that somewhere. I'll have to dig a little bit, but I do have the key for that. And so you can lock your narcs up. But let's get into our action wall. So we got our patient dome lights. You can see those are all working all throughout here, and then they're on high right now. So if you want to go low, I'll go down to low. You can see they dramatically drop down to a lower level in case your patient has meningitis and doesn't like the bright light, or whatever. So there's that. Our exhaust vent that will evacuate whatever odors you don't want back here, and that is sucking right from there. So there's that. And then what I also like, if you look, all the AC and heater vents run the length of the ambulance. A lot of times you'll see there'll be a system where it's just forward facing right there, and unfortunately if you're sitting in the jump seat, it totally misses you. So that's kind of brutal in the summertime, but so I really like the way that they laid this out. And then our suction is right there. And then if I put my finger over one of these holes, you'll see there's that. And if you want to increase it or decrease it, you just turn the knob. So there's the suction, and then we got our patient AC or heat. You could probably hear that coming out there. There's that. And then I think it sounds like it might be on low. I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, so there's the high. And then that kicks out quite a bit more. And there's it's just a speed selector right there. So you got low or you got high. And then you just kill it off. Now if you want heat, that's what you do there. So if you want heat, you go up. If you want cool, you go down. That's the way that works. And then we have a compartment light, which is pretty cool. So all of your equipment and all of your supplies and stuff that are in the cabinets can be lit up all over here. So you can see if there's something way back there, you're looking for that emesis basin that you haven't used in a year, and your patient's about to throw up and you're like, can't find it, boom, that can help you out dramatically. There's a compartment, and then you got an inverter. It has a Vanner inverter, which is the cream of the cream as far as power inverters go. It's EMS rated inverter, so if you have a patient that's on a ventilator or an IV pump or something, some kind of critical equipment, there'll be no interruption in their whatever it is, either their oxygen for the ventilation or their IV pump or whatever. So you see the little light that comes on there that tells you that, hey, these plugs are now armed. And I think there's one over here, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I am mistaken. That might be in a different rig. I thought there was one inside the cabinet. So there's two power plugs. I thought there was another one over there. So there's one over here. This is, I guess, where you would be charging your monitor. And then there's one over here for, if you've got your Power Pro and you're charging up your gurney batteries, you can do that right over there. So there is that. There's a nice full-size jump seat with a headrest, with a shoulder strap belt. There's a compartment here for additional supplies, and this also access to the side. When the side door is open, you can access whatever's in there, which is pretty cool. And if you want to open the side door, that is how you do that. So there's a couple of steps, and then you're down. It's pretty. That would be the easier way. Most people, if they're walking a patient to the ambulance, they take them to the side door because it's a lower, especially if there's a sidewalk and a curb right there. It's easier to just walk them into the side than try to get them up the back. And there's that. Then that's kind of it. I mean, there's not all. The inverter is in there, and you can see there's quite a bit of cabinet space. The upholstery is in great condition. There's no tears, which is surprising. You know, there's always a tear at least on the back cushion from guys sliding their aluminum clipboards in. The jump seat has no tears. There's no, the laminate that's on the walls. There's no areas that are chipped up, and everything's in really good condition. I mean, it's like brand new. It really is. So there's this one. Let's jump in the cab, and then we'll go through all the cab stuff. And then, oh yeah, let me show you one other thing. So the house tank goes into the side. You'll hear, and these are really quiet. So it's a Mercedes V6 turbo diesel 3.0 liter. And they're super quiet, super great on fuel, and it's an awesome configuration. I really, I haven't had much experience driving Sprinters. These kind of came out before, but like after I already left the field. So I don't know much. So anyway, this is for an M tank can fit in there. An H tank will not fit. You would have to pull this tank, this rack out, and put in one for an H tank if you carry H tank, and then there's spaces here for E tanks if you want additional tanks there. But it is tall enough to put an H tank. It's just that rack is designed for an M tank. So, oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to say, oh yeah, this is a clock also. So if you're running epi, atropine, or any kind of narcotics or anything, you're trying to time your doses, you can do a start and stop. You can do 1 minute interval, you can do 2 minute interval, and it'll do a countdown. So you can be like, okay, we gave that guy epi 1 minute ago, he's ready for another round, or whatever the case might be. So pretty cool. There's that. What I was going to say about Leader, what I really like is their electronics are bulletproof. And sometimes with Horton, Road Rescue, MedTech, some of these companies have these really elaborate switch panels, and the thing that's the bummer is if, say, the dome light button goes out because you use it every day, 20 times a day, if it goes out, you can't just switch out that switch. Like that whole, on a Horton, Road Rescue, even like an AEV or MedTech, that whole panel has to be changed out. You can't just switch out that button because it's a little PC board on the back, little CPU board, and it's all soldered together. What's cool about Leader is if one of these switches go bad, and they'll go bad from time to time. I've had to switch switches out, not out of these rigs, but just in different Leader ambulances that I've had. There's a $12 switch. Anybody can do it. Just, spade connections on the back. You unplug it, put the new switch in, and boom, Bob's your uncle. So, $12 versus some of those Horton boards and the AEV boards. Some of those things are $6,000 to replace. Sometimes they can be repaired, but you're still looking at a huge bill just to get something as simple as dome lights to work. So that's one thing I really like. There's no proprietary electronics in a Leader ambulance. The only other coach builder that I know like that is Frazier. Frazier built ambulances out of San Antonio. They have it's just regular off-the-shelf solenoids and relays and whatnot that you get at Pep Boys, O'Reilly, AutoZone, anywhere. Anyway, all the electronics are behind there, so there's 3 bolts to undo. You flop that panel, and then all the solenoids, the relays are right there. And you know, there isn't anything in there more than 20 bucks. So that's one of the great things about Leader. So you also see that there's red lights up there, the surveillance lights. So if your partner's driving, you're looking in a map book, and you don't want to make it too bright, or if you're just on post, you don't want it too bright, or you're waiting, you got that big, shooting, you're waiting for the police to call you in, but you need some light, you can do that, and so you're not completely lit up. Pretty cool. And those, you just push the button. Let me get up here. You just push the button, and then it just comes on. There's that. So, there's that. So here's the cab. You can see the floor is in mint condition, no holes. The dash is in great condition. It is missing, I think just about every Sprinter I've ever seen is missing. This is like a little clip, so you could put like a little note under there and it just holds it down. Those are always busted off. This is to hold this gooseneck map light on there. There's a 12-volt charger, cigarette lighter plug. And then all your emergency lights, controls and everything are up there. We'll get into that in just a second. So the seat's a little torn up, a little worn. I could have my upholstery guy make these like new if it really bothers you, but it won't be cheap. I mean, to have both of these seats redone would probably be 500 bucks or so. Maybe a little less, I don't know. But this... it's not leather, but it's vinyl. If it was just cloth, it would be cheaper. And to match it up right, it wouldn't be cheap to get the seats out and take them in and do all that. So it can be done, or you can just get seat covers from eBay and throw them on there, and you're in business. The back part of the seats are in great condition. The headrests are great. The armrests work. I remember seeing a broken armrest in a Sprinter. I see them all the time in the Fords. What I like about this, you can kind of dial in the level that you want, and then you can just clear it out. There's a little gear in there. All right, so let's go over to the driver's side. You can hear how quiet this thing is. Power Stroke, the Ford Econoline, those things are loud as hell. So here's our door. Let me back up a little bit. There's our driver's side door, our step well, the driver's side floor, great condition. Oh yeah, there's a spotlight. Where is it? There's a spotlight here, so if you're looking for an address and, oh, is the bulb burned out? It may be. Let's see, what is there? It looks like either the switch or the bulb is burned out on this thing. Here's the light. I'll dig into this. These are usually pretty easy to fix. And I do have spare bulbs, but it's not usually the bulb. Usually it's the switch. And I have those too. So I'll check that out, and we'll see if we can't get that working for you. So here is our dash. Let me climb in here. You can see, now the Sprinters, you can see we got 233,000 miles. It's 74 degrees outside, but it is not 9:19 a.m. in the morning. You can see there's no check engine light. There is that little icon at the top. That is a tire pressure sensor. So one of the tire pressure sensors is bad. We don't have a flat tire. That's what that's telling us. But the sensors usually go bad in every car. Even my car has had a tire pressure sensor on for the 5 years that I've had that car, and it's just a pain in the butt. It's $30 part, but it's just such an insignificant thing. I just don't pay attention to. So here we have our radio, and
2018 Subaru Forester has peace of mind wherever.
So there's that, and you got your FM, your AM, you got your CD player, and you can do all kinds of stuff. Our AC is right there, and then if you want to go lower, you go that way. If you want to go higher, so this is the speed selector, and then here's the thermostat, climate control. So it's on AC. If you want to go, you can start C. And then the defrost is all the way to the very end. And it's pretty responsive. Right away I got heat. If I go back up here, right away it's nice and cold. And then this is just the directional thing if you want it only up to the top of the dash, if you want it at the floor and the top of the dash, or if you just want it coming straight out of these things, you can do that. And that's what that is. There's a rear window defroster. That's that button right there. Sorry if I was holding the camera down a little bit. And there's that. There's AC, or if you just want regular heat, and if you just take the speed selector all the way down, it shuts off. Your hazard light button is right there. Believe it or not, your door locks is right there. So there's no door lock button on either door. There's window and mirror buttons on the driver's side, and there's just a window button over there. So this is the door button right there, and you'll see that pop up, and you can unlock the back doors from up here too. You can also do it on the key fob if you want to do that. So there's that, and let's see. Oh yeah, there's a big ouch. So I'm getting a cramp in my arm from holding this camera up. So you got a glove box, and then there's a lot of storage space here. You got space up there to put maps or napkins, maybe some ketchup, and then there's space up here behind that with another cup holder. Oh, it looks like somebody's skull is up there. It's stuck in there too. And then the same thing over there. Up here, there's space up above the visor, you'll see there. And then the visor there. And then over there, same deal. And then all of our electronics here for our emergency lights, and even the non-emergency lights, if you just want to do the side floodlights and stuff, the siren and all that stuff's there. Now here's something unique to Leader Ambulance. I've never seen it on another ambulance ever. And you'll see this is, you flip that, say you've got, a dead battery for whatever reason. You were sitting, listening to the radio for too long without the engine on. Now you got to call, now you got to respond, and the thing won't start. There's one battery, there's 3 batteries in this thing. 2 that are just available all the time. The inverter also works off of that. And then there's one strictly for emergency start. So if you flick that down, it'll open that battery up for the starter, and you can start the vehicle if you kill the other 2 batteries. So it's pretty awesome. And there's that. So let me go ahead and turn on I'll just turn all of our emergency lights on. And there's also switches here, so if you accidentally leave the rear AC on, or if you leave the rear dome lights on, you can turn them on from up here. So I got all of our emergency lights on. Let me just do the siren real quick too, so you can hear that. That was hella loud. Wow, that thing is loud. I don't think I've heard a siren. Those speakers are really rocking on this thing. Wow, that thing was loud. Okay, so let's get out and look at all of our emergency lights. And then you can also control, between wail and yelp from, you just hit the horn, double hit the horn, it'll kill it. So you can see the white lights that are above our red lights, those are the floodlights. So if you got a patient on the sidewalk and you're tending to them, you can use those, whatever. So we've got, oh yeah, so this has a clear lens on it, but it burns red on the front fender there. And then you'll notice the front, we've got these LEDs in the grill. And then there's a variety of stuff going on with the light bar up there. There's some white ones. I don't know if this one is all red. One of these units doesn't have white lights in there, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure which one it is. And then you'll see same deal here. And then we'll go to the back. These are programmable also. All these lights. So if you don't like the flash pattern that they're doing, if you want them to go faster, if you want them to do a different kind of flash pattern, you can totally change that. There's like 22 choices. So, oh yeah, and then let me show you this. This is pretty cool. So, you know, once you're on scene and you're getting your, you know, taking your gurney out, you're going up to wherever the patient is. If you've got your doors open, okay, you got these lights up there, so you're still, you know, visible to if it's nighttime. You know, you got people, they can see these lights because now the doors are open where your other lights are. So it's pretty ingenious that they thought about putting those on the inside, so when the doors are open, you still have emergency lights. So there's that, and let me see what else. Let's look at the motor real quick. I think we did everything, right? I mean, yeah. All right. So let's get this. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So here's our motor, super clean. I mean, crazy clean. And we didn't clean this. You can tell because if you look, I mean, there's dirt in here, but it's just super clean. And everything's accessible. That's the biggest thing I like about the Sprinter. You got your fuel injection control module right there. It couldn't be easier to get to. All your fluids are easy to get to. Oh yeah, so the battery is under the floor mat here. So there's a battery there, and the other ones are in the back under the shelving. There's access to those back there. But the main battery is under the floor mat. Well, if you need to jump it, this is your charging post to do so. So you just push that back, and that's your positive, and then that's your negative right there. You put your negative post on there, you put your positive post on there, and boom, you jump it that way. So, and then you can see, like, here's your EGR valve. That couldn't be easier to get to. The turbo is under there. You have to take the air box up and the little pedestal that it sits on, and then boom, the turbo's right there. Super easy to get to. Your valve covers come off really easy. All the injectors are right there. This is your air filter. This one could actually be replaced, but yes, this one needs. I'll have to pop a new air filter in. This one's pretty shot. But it couldn't be easier to replace that. It just push it down and boom. It looks like there should be a cover on there, and it's because the cover it's on the top of the hood. So there's vents there. It sucks in the air, goes in there, and that's how that works. So it sounds great. We're going to do a test drive in a little bit. Let me just knock out the video for the other ambulance. Let me put the hood down.